Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. Today I'm working on a tray for fall, and this is a dollar store charger or tray. It's more of a tray than a charger in reality, but buck, so that's a good price. I started with, I'm using the fleur-de-lis mold and the sunflower mold today. It's kind of funny because I think this to me looks more like an artichoke than a sunflower. I mean, it does look like a sunflower, yes, but it could also be an artichoke. But both of them kind of remind you of fall. So I'm going to mix them. I did up a couple molds already. And I'm just going to kind of add it around the edge here. And you always want to dust your molds with a little bit of cornstarch. Cornstarch. I was thinking corn. What was I thinking? Baking powder. Not baking powder. Cornstarch. And I'm going to use the Iron Orchid Design clay, air dry clay. I'm just going to squish this in around it. And pop that little guy out. I'm just going to make up a few. Let's see, I'm going to do a leaf next. Just going to do up a few of them and then put them, kind of place them around and see what direction I want to go. You can take the new tool and scrape these along too. I've gotten used to doing it with my finger, but actually that tool works really well. And I just put it in my glue, which probably doesn't work quite as well. But luckily they clean up nicely. And do another leaf. I keep cornstarch in a little dish, but that being said, I always have my cornstarch ready to go when I'm ready to do molds, when I'm trying to keep it more enclosed so I don't spill it. I do have a little tiny container about this big that I use. It's a Tupperware style container that that I think I actually got from the dollar store also, that I put the cornstarch in to keep it, and that way you're just ready to go. It's also separate from your food cornstarch. I just keep adding to it. Let's see, let's do some of the sunflowers, more of the sunflowers. I like this leaf because it's a little bit smaller. This one might be a little too big for the tray. And you can use this then to decorate in your kitchen and put your oils on, or you could put it on your table for the holidays, put some candles on it. That would be cute. Okay. Pop that guy out. And I think I'll do another leaf real quick. Oh, I got cornstarch in there. Get the glue off that. My smaller one would work much better for this, but it's in the house. All right, that'll get me started. Get a baby wipe, clean up my hands since I just dunked it in the glue. I'm just taking some wood glue. I kind of, I didn't glue this down yet, but it's definitely sitting on there nicely. Just going to glue up the back a little bit. I'm going to put it back, and I just shaped it into this corner. And as you could see, the way it dried in there, it sits in there nicely. Let's see, do we want to do this leaf? Yeah, let's do that leaf. Being able to see. And maybe a little acorn, will it fit there? Maybe not so much, maybe one right in there. I kind of like this little bead on here because it will add a little bit of detail, because we're not going to cover the entire edge of this. We're just going to kind of go along here. I don't like that one though. I think I want a bigger one. So you can either do up a bunch of these molds and then put them in there, you know, glue them all in at the same time, or you can kind of make them up as you go. The nice thing about making them up as you go with a project like this, since this is curved, you probably don't want to have a bunch of extras that maybe won't work around it, this particular project, because you don't want them to dry and then not be able to curve it. But they would work then for another project. And just put them in a container. I have a whole container of both the air dry clay and the epoxy ones, not epoxy, resin. Words aren't coming today. It's one of those days. It must be Monday. So I'm just going to go around and fill this in, and then we'll come back and then we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see, I kind of changed what I did a little bit. I put the sunflowers originally in the corner, and then I started adding the acorns and the leaves, and just didn't like the way it was coming out. So I'm doing two different trays. Let's see. Then I can do the other one in the ivory with the sunflowers. Oh yeah, look at that. That is so pretty. That is so fall. And since that's kind of what we're going for. So the clay is still dry, I mean wet, still dry. It's still wet. I glued it on and I'm painting it before it dries. And sometimes this will crack a little bit. That's okay, it gives it some character. Yeah, that's such a great color. I like the kind of burnty orange that it is. Burnty's a word, isn't it? It's got to be. So what I might do here, since I started, and you don't need to see me paint this whole thing, since I started with the ivory and it's wet, I think I might stop, let that dry, and paint this. And then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. So I just wanted to show you real quick. I'm taking a foam brush and I'm just kind of pouncing to get the color in the mold crevices and around the edges, and then I swipe over it. I just kind of go around and top it off so that the lines are smoother. And you want to do this kind of gently so that you're not pushing, since the clay is still wet, you're not pushing down on the clay. You're just kind of lightly pouncing on it. And it gets in those, and just brush it down. Okay, I'll be back with you when this is done, painted, and dried. So I'm back. The pieces are dry, and I've already started waxing and doing the next steps in the project. A lot of times when I go to do a video, I will have already done the process of whatever it is that I'm creating, and then I do it a second time to show you. In some cases, like this one, I just kind of jump in there and do it because I want you to see the process that I'm going through and my thought process of experimenting, saying this will work, this won't work. I don't like that, I like this. And that's what I did with this. I did go ahead and start putting wax on this, and I will show you what I did. On this one so far, I have only put the clear wax on it, and then I put some of the decrepit dust from DIY paint and brush that on to the wet wax. And I'll show you that process here in a second. This is the other one I did, and this one's actually got already the dark decrepit dust on it, and then I did the white decrepit dust on it, and I really like the effect that is coming through on this. And I haven't decided if I'm going to try the white on this one or not. We're just going to play with it. But this one, you can see, this is, let's see if I got it lined up. Okay, so this is the dark decrepit, and this is the dark, and then a layer of the white is on that. So you get a totally different look. So depending on what you like. But it's kind of, you know, that's the creative process of figuring out, is that what I want it to look like, and then playing with it a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and wax the other side. So I waxed this half. I'm going to wax this half. And on my wax brushes, and I've said this before, I always write on them that they're my wax brushes. And I use the smaller ones when I'm doing craft projects. But if you go to try to paint with something that you had done the wax with, it won't stick or it'll be kind of funky. So I mark mine, and I try to keep them in a different little container that is sitting here on my workbench. That being said, sometimes they do get mixed up. I am very heavy-handed with my wax. I don't know what it is. I'm using the way bottom where there's nothing, and yet you can see but this also has, oh, I know what the problem is. I'm just thinking, boy, that's really, but it's got the white coming through. I need to get another brush because I didn't get all the wax, the white wax off that. So that's why it's looking really heavy. It's not, okay, that's better. I was wondering, I thought, I know I'm heavy-handed, but that was a little ridiculous. And I'm gonna take some of that off. So I had some of the white decrepit dust on my brush. I forgot to clean it off. And so I'm just going to go ahead and wipe that off. So you could do the layering of the decrepit dust, you know, the opposite way. Do the white first and then do the dark. And it would probably give you quite a bit different of an effect. Kind of bristle in there. I don't know why I am so heavy-handed though with the wax. It just It's one of those things. Luckily, you know, you do go in afterwards and kind of wipe it back, so probably not horrible. This paintbrush is losing bristles all over the place. Okay. I just kind of stirred around in there, so it kind of gets those high and low spots. This is still way too white, but that's okay because I'm going to put the dark in there and I'll probably pick that up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get those pieces out of there, hopefully. I've never had that problem before with these brushes, losing so many of the bristles. So now I'm going to take the dark decrepit. That's the wax. That's not what I want. I want the dust. So you're probably saying, okay, well, why are you using the dust instead of the wax? And I'll show you why. I did a little sample here on my very messy board. This is the dust mixed with wax, and this is the dark wax. And you can see that's a big difference as far as the darkness. So I wasn't wanting it to be that dark. If that's what you like, by all means do that. But this gives you a softer kind of antique-y look. So that's what I was going for. And I originally I had kind of dusted it onto the piece itself. You know, kind of flaked it on there and then used the brush and moved it around. And then I realized that if I get a little bit of the wax on it, the clear wax, and then I just have this over to the side, I can just get a little bit on the wax of the brush and the wax, and I can just kind of, and it's not doing it. I was using a different brush yesterday. Let me get this a little bit. There we go. You can see it. It's getting in there. So what I'm wanting is I want it to kind of get into the crevices. Can't believe how much this brush has got stuff falling off of it. Get a little bit more wax on there. Get those ones that want to fall off out of there. Oh my goodness. There we go. Now it's getting in there. That looks like it needs just a little bit more wax too with. So I'm kind of doing it on the entire thing, but really focusing on the places that I put the molds. Now I don't suggest you do what I'm doing, just for the record. You can see I'm getting some of the decrepit dust into the wax. Usually what I would do is I'd take a little bit of the wax and put it on a plate. I have just, you know, like dollar store plates that I have around that I put paint on, or I put the decrepit dust on, or the wax, I mean. Certainly not ones that I use to eat off of, but that way I can mess them up. I'm just going to go back. Oh, that one wiped. Okay, well that was very strange. I've never had that happen. My video just stopped recording. Okay, where was it? I was trying to get the dark part into these crevices a little bit better, and then I'm just going to wipe it back a little bit. And if it's too much, you can put a little bit of wax onto your paper towel and it'll help lift it back off any of the, whether it be the wax or the decrepit dust. And just wipe it back a little bit. And you notice that one side of the tray is a different color than the other. Once the wax dries, it will change to this color. So now I don't know if I want to put the white on this one or not. I'm going to think about that for a little bit, but I'll show you on this one what I did. So on the sunflower on this one, I went through and I added a little bit of a darker color paint in between the flowers on the petals that are kind of be shadowed underneath. And then I added some here by just kind of speckling it in. Yeah. So I need to wax this. And this is the... So I'm going to put my first coat of wax. And a lot of this isn't even going to show up. It's going to be really subtle when it shows up. But it's sometimes just those little things, those little layering details that make it really cool. You can see here, I've already waxed here. So you can see the difference of, this is the wax dry and this is it wet. But it didn't want to saturate right off the bat. So it will look like it was painted two different colors. So on this one, I did the dark dust, and then I went over it with the white dust. And I liked the effect it gave me. And it did give it some depth of having a little bit of that dark come through, having a little bit of that secondary color come through that was on the petals. Okay. So first I'm going to do the dark wax, or the dust, dark dust. I'm just going to kind of work it in there. And that's kind of a cool effect right there, you have to say. I didn't put any of the dark on the flat part of the tray for this one. You can certainly brush some on there. Well, there is a little bit there that was over dusting, but make sure I'm in the camera frame there. There's nothing worse than doing a video and then going, oh, I wasn't even in the frame. So now I'm going to wipe this back again. And then I'm going to take the white and, oh, I did the wrong lid on that one. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. Once again, actually I'll just put it right on the paper, because the problem with doing it on the lid is then you get wax on the lid and then it sticks to it. Is this my white one? No, this is my white one. Okay, so a little bit of wax, a little bit of the powder on your brush. Same thing, except with this I'm getting a little bit more of the highlights, the top parts, as opposed to the getting in deep in these crevices. Wasn't sure about these dust products when I first got them. I was like, ah, they're interesting, but they are fun. They're something different. They're easy to use, especially if you use it this way. So I have no idea what's going on with my phone, but it keeps wanting to short out and stop videoing. So if this video is a little screwy, I'm sorry. My phone's not cooperating with me today. Okay, so there's the white. Once again, just wipe it back and you're done. You just need to let it dry. It's already sealed because you used the wax. So you're good to go, and then you just decorate with it. This would be great for both Halloween or Thanksgiving, and just, you know, your fall decor. And it could be done with any of the molds. And I would love to see if any of you guys try this project. Hashtag boutique paint, and let me see it. I'd love to see it. So that's it on that. And this is this one. If you have any questions or like to see any of the products that are in this video, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.